Peter, a 56-15 defeat to Worcester Warriors this afternoon at Sixways. Was that a reality check for the boys?
Second half certainly was a reality check. You know, we went in at half-time buzzer, 21-15 down, 6 points in the game. We actually had the lead for large parts of that first half as well, and I thought we actually had a really good half. But you know what? Sometimes half-time comes at the wrong time, doesn't it? And usually for the away team, it stopped our momentum, and we came out, you know, some positive words said at half-time, and then really a different team came out in the second half, not only from our changing room but from Worcester's as well, and they got their accuracy up. We were the polar opposite of that, completely inaccurate in defence. Looked like we didn't know what we were doing at times, and 5 tries to 0 second half tells the story.
We started off really well, so Mark Bright going over for a try after about 3 minutes. Peter Lydon with that intercept try from a Ryan line pass. We regained the leads midway through the half, and a lot of the big boys stepped up in that first half, so didn't they? They
really did, and you know, we were making breaks at will. Mike Donegan through the middle, Matt Williams up the wing. You know, we looked really dangerous in attack as well. Neil Best was having a big half, having been out, so some really big performances, and that's why we came in at half time, coaching staff and all, and players all feeling really good. But like I say, sometimes you know, 10 minutes in the training shed does funny things to people, and you know, we were just a shadow of our former selves in that second half, and terribly disappointing, you know, because you put in the weaker prep, but 40 minutes of hard work to then perhaps put less work in that second half, and our accuracy was just poor, you know, from an attack perspective. You know, we didn't score a point in the second half. We've been low scoring for the last couple of games, so that's something we're going to have to look at. Just not being able to string phases together, dropping a lot of passes. Very disappointing.
It does help when Worcester Warriors side have got a couple of England internationals, Chris Bennett fullback, Ryan Lamb at standoff. They had an Aussie Test player in the wing making his debut. They had an Argentinian hooker coming off the bench, so you know, they're a class act.
Well, they got you know, a very good, strong squad, and they were able to keep, you know, arguably their first choice hooker. You mentioned Agustin Creevy, he's the captain of Argentina, on the bench, comes on for the last 20 minutes, and you know, he looked like a man possessed for that 20 minutes, running around and making, you know, a strong impact off the bench. But yeah, they got quality throughout their team, but you know, they started a very strong team, and we matched them pound for pound in that first half. I have no doubt about that. And you know, the idea was that the boys got belief from matching them, and in the second half, look, I don't know, I've got to go and watch. You know, sometimes you're emotional after the game. I'm certainly a little bit emotional. Got to go back and watch the tape and look at the detail as to why, but I know there's certain areas, obviously defence was one of them, but gifting them the ball back on occasion, and missing a few opportunities ourselves to score tries, you know, usually so clinical, 5 metres from the line, and we had a chance in that second half and messed up our line out, and then Pete Lydon was guilty of kicking the ball away from the pursuing phases. So, you know, just a little bit of composure at times across the board. You know, saying that, Pete Lydon had a really strong game in the first half, didn't he? Great intercept, kicked brilliantly, tackled manfully, got a little problem with his eye. But yeah, look, it is what it is. You know, 56-15. You're not going to hide away from saying that we were brilliant, because we weren't.
You're concerned that confidence might take a dent from that? This is the first time we shipped 50.
Is that right? First time 50 of it? Yeah, well, you know, you get what you deserve, don't you, in this game? You know, the referee was relatively fair throughout. I don't think, you know, he was influenced. I thought he had a decent game. So, you know, it is what it is. 35-0 second half, as I've said already, speaks volumes for the performance in that half. And you know, the nil part of it again is bugging me. But look, we're going to have to dust ourselves down. I think that's the important thing. We're looking forward now. You know, we've got a really tough 3 games, starting with Nottingham at home in a fortnight's time, and we're going to have to win the game. You know, we're going to have to get back to our brilliant home form that we've shown throughout the season. So we've had 10 months of hard graft, and we've got to get back to that home form.
I thought you were a bit concerned about the scrums going into the game because we had a few injuries, but they seemed to go relatively well this afternoon.
Oh, they were brilliant. You know, Ben Prescott did manfully, really well. I think him and James Hallam were outstanding in the set piece. Really, you know, Worcester have got a formidable scrum, and we dominated them. I think we picked up maybe 4 penalties in the first half alone at scrum time. So, you know, there were some outstanding aspects of that first half. Couldn't say much about the second, but the first half, our line out was strong. Like, we drove Worcester over from 20 yards. You know, that was to start the game off, and that was a real bright start. You know, the backs were getting into the game, like I say, Kieran Moffat breaks, Donegan, Williams, everyone was in the game. Lydon with an intercept, but it all seemed to stop at half time.
Yeah, because I think before the games, the boys seemed really mentally tuned in for this. You gave a good speech. Neil Best gave a rousing speech before the match as well. So there wasn't anything wrong really with the preparation.
Well, it's something we'll have to look at. But perhaps there was, you know, definitely is. You know, we look at everything from the food to the travel. But yeah, I think we warmed up really well. I thought Neil Best gave a real emotional speech in the changing room, which was really good. And you saw the guys going out, look really focused. And our warm up before the game was probably as good as it's been. And we started the game brilliantly. We've been guilty of starting games slowly. And like you say, we were 7-0 up after 3 minutes, which was the perfect start. And after 20 minutes, I think we were still leading the game. So really pleased with our start. You know, at Jersey we were guilty of being down by 12 points early on. Against Doncaster we didn't start particularly well, so that was a great aspect. But usually the end of the game is our strength, and today, you know, that was a role reversal. So often in the last 20 minutes we score freely, and today it was, unfortunately, it was the opposition doing that.
A wee bit of perspective. Worcester Warriors just came down from their Premiership. They've now won 25 games out of 26 this season. Them and Bristol are comfortably in front, top two, and they're top two for a reason.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've, you know, got great coaches here at Worcester, great facilities, and you know, the budget to develop a big, strong squad. And you know, you look at their bench. We mentioned it before. They are a quality outfit, but you know, they are beatable. And Jersey beat them 7 days ago, and they're human. And how that first half went, you know, we've got very, very good players as well. Andy is the truth of it. And you know, there's some disappointed guys in that change room. Mark Bright spoke to the group as well. You know, we've got some quality operators in our team that in the first half really stood up, and in the second half went a bit missing. So I'm sure they'll all take it personally, and I hope they do, because you know, it's an emotional game we play, and you've got to have the right attitude and emotion taking the pitch, because it's a battle. And we had it for 40 minutes, and it was lacking for the next 40. And the reality is, when we play the next 3 games, we're going to have it for 80, because we're coming against 3 very hungry teams that are all playing for something, all chasing us in a pursuit of a playoff place, and they've got nothing to lose. So we're going to have to match that emotion and even better it, and trying to come out on the right side.
Rotherham won last night. Moseley, Nottingham won today at Doncaster. It's now simple. A lot of people have been doing maths, working out when we can get top 4. It's fairly simple. Saturday, April 11, 3 PM kick-off at the Athletic Ground. Nottingham, it's Judgment Day. Win that, we're in the top 4.
Well, I think I just said that to the players in the changing room. That's it. It's our final. I think there's no hiding away from it. We got to come out against Nottingham and give it absolutely everything. And win the game. We've got 2 tough trips to Yorkshire coming up after that, but Nottingham is a big game for us and Nottingham. So you know, I'm sure both teams will be bang up for it, but we're going to have to show some grit that perhaps we didn't show in the second half today if we're going to overcome them.
Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.